Welcome to Hockey Wiz Talks podcast. In this podcast, I'll be talking about moves Western Conference teams need to make this offseason. In this podcast, I talk about moves Western Conference teams need to make this offseason. Moves Central Division teams should make. Addressing Connor Bedard's upcoming contract is the Chicago Blackhawks' top priority. Management must decide between a max-term 7-year deal or a shorter 4 to 5 year bridge deal. The Blackhawks have been in search for a top 6 winger, whether it's trading for Matthew Knies of the Toronto Maple Leafs or Jason Robertson of the Dallas Stars. Having already traded the number 4 overall pick for Bowen Byram, the Blackhawks need to sign an experienced veteran defenseman to stabilize their incredibly young defensive core. The Colorado Avalanche cleared $6.125 million in cap space by trading Valeri Nichushkin to the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Avs also traded RFA Jack Drury to the Nashville Predators to acquire highly touted low-cost forward prospects Fedor Svechkov and Zachary Laharoux. They must now use this flexibility to lock down a contract extension for Cale Makar and target reliable depth defensemen. Makar is entering the final year of his contract, making him eligible to sign an extension starting July 1st. Insiders project Makar's next contract will carry a staggering $15 to $17 million annual cap hit. Armed with nearly $11 million in cap space, the Avs are now positioned to circle back to re-sign pending UFA Brett Kulak, who excelled for them in a top 4 role down the stretch. They are also linked to targets like Mario Ferraro. The Dallas Stars are grappling with the reality that star winger Jason Robertson may not re-sign with the team. If an extension fails, they must leverage him to acquire a top 4 right-handed defenseman. Dallas does not own a first-round pick in the 2026 NHL draft and possesses only 1 selection in the first 4 rounds. Besides Jason Robertson, there are also some key players that are free agents, such as Captain Jamie Benn, RFA Maverick Bourque, and Michael Bunting. To find the money to sign Maverick Bourque and fill out the depth chart, Neil might be forced to explore moving established roster pieces such as Radek Faksa to create cap space. Urgently pursuing a top 6 scoring center to fuel their short-term championship window is among the top priorities for the Minnesota Wild. They have been heavily linking them to veteran center Vincent Trocheck. Acquired in a blockbuster trade from the Vancouver Canucks last season, Quinn Hughes took Minnesota further in the playoffs than they had gone in nearly 2 decades. He becomes eligible for a contract extension on July 1st. Owner Craig Leopold and GM Bill Guerin have made retaining Hughes the single most vital non-trade objective. The Wild are letting a massive wave of veteran depth forwards hit the free agent market to clear cap flexibility. To replenish these bottom 6 minutes, Guerin is expected to sign low-cost, bonus-eligible veterans like Patrick Kane or Anders Lee. Starting goalie Philip Gustafsson is currently recovering from major hip surgery and is expected to miss the opening month of the upcoming season, so expect Minnesota to target a veteran backup on a cheap 2-way contract. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my scouting blog at hockeywiz777scouting.com. Listen to my scouting blog podcast on podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/hockeywiz777scouting. With new GM Chris McFarland taking over the front office, his immediate mandate is to expand the Nashville Predators prospect pool and bring a fresh structural approach to the roster. The Predators' primary roster vulnerability is on the right side of their blue line, making a top 4 right shot defenseman their biggest target in trades or free agency. While Nashville boasts strong 2-way players, the front office is looking to add a pure high-end skill player who can break open shifts and score goals consistently. The St. Louis Blues are actively preparing to potentially trade veteran goalie Jordan Binnington as he enters the final year of his deal, prioritizing the acquisition of right-handed defensemen, which could be addressed in the draft. By trading Jordan Kyrou to the Washington Capitals, the Blues added the 16th overall selection in the draft. Combined with the previous trades involving Justin Falk and Braden Shen, St. Louis now possesses an almost unprecedented 4 first-round picks in the 2026 draft. The return from the Kyrou trade immediately landed the Blues' 25-year-old forward Connor McMichael, who brings a versatile style capable of playing center and wing. Positioned as a rising sleeper contender in the Central Division, the Utah Mammoth are utilizing their deep draft assets and cap space to target an elite top 6 forward. Utah's primary engine of growth this offseason is internal. The front office is opening the runway for top-tier forward prospects Cheech Iginla and Day Na-Ye to crack the active roster out of the training camp. Adding Iginla and Day Na-Ye alongside established core pieces will give Utah one of the fastest, most dynamic forward corps in the league. The blockbuster trade deadline acquisition of Mackenzie Weegar locked down Utah's top defensive unit for the foreseeable future. This puts way less pressure on their young first-rounders Dmitry Shemishev and Maverick Lamoureux to play a top 4 role. Facing a major decision on whether to trade 3-time Vezina Trophy winner Connor Hellebuyck while pivoting towards acquiring young, game-breaking offensive assets, the Winnipeg Jets are hunting for a legitimate second-line center. Analysts have suggested Anaheim Ducks center Mason McTavish, but Winnipeg is also keeping tabs on players like Florida's Anton Lundell and Ottawa's Shane Pinto, if they should be available. The Jets are also prepared to let the majority of their veteran depth pieces hit the open market to keep their $21 million cap sheet flexible. This will give them the opportunity to swoop in and sign important free agents. Check out my hockey blog at hockeywiztalkshockey.blogspot.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at hockeywiz777. Moves Pacific Division teams should make. The Anaheim Ducks are looking to re-sign emerging stars Leo Carlsson and Cutter Gauthier to long-term extensions, while acquiring a long-term right-handed defenseman to replace departing veteran blue liners. Despite his big-time potential, 23-year-old center Mason McTavish took a big step back last season, even finding himself to be a healthy scratch at times. Rather than waiting out his development, the Ducks are aggressively listening to trade offers for him. The Philadelphia Flyers, Montreal Canadiens, and New York Rangers have all been linked to him. Despite their playoff appearance, Anaheim's defensive metrics ranked among the worst in the NHL. This crisis is magnified on the right side, where key defensemen John Carlson, Jacob Trouba, and Radko Gudas are all officially hitting unrestricted free agency on July 1st. After pulling off a blockbuster trade with the New Jersey Devils to acquire Simon Nemec and Maxim Slivkov, the Calgary Flames must immediately re-sign Nemec, who becomes an RFA on July 1st, to a long-term pact. The Flames are actively shopping 24-year-old forward Connor Zary, reportedly asking for a second-round draft pick in return to continue shuffling their young assets. Armed with the 6th overall selection in the 2026 draft, Calgary must focus on drafting a player with elite game-breaking scoring to headline their rebuild. The Edmonton Oilers face a high-stakes offseason focused on executing Darnell Nurse's trade request, acquiring an elite top 6 winger, and stabilizing their volatile goaltending crease. Moving Nurse's massive $9.25 million cap hit is general manager Stan Bowman's top priority, with the Pittsburgh Penguins and Philadelphia Flyers emerging as primary suitors willing to take on the contract. Clearing the financial room is vital for the Oilers to trade for an impactful forward like Brian Rust to play alongside Connor McDavid, while simultaneously allowing the front office to hunt for goaltending upgrades like Detroit prospect Sebastian Cossa or veteran Jordan Binnington. The Los Angeles Kings face a transformative offseason defined by replacing retired franchise icon Anze Kopitar with a high-end top 6 center, adjusting to new head coach Peter Laviolette's aggressive up-tempo system, and shedding salary cap to make things happen. To fuel this strategic shift and support rising star Quinton Byfield, GM Ken Holland is heavily utilizing the trade market to target dynamic centers like Dylan Larkin or Vincent Trocheck. Furthermore, the team must navigate a tight $17.7 million cap crunch, likely moving out pieces like Cody Ceci or Trevor Moore, to successfully lock up breakout defenseman Brent Clark and fully unlock Laviolette's blueprint. The San Jose Sharks are prepared for a spectacular offseason fueled by holding 3 first-round picks, including the 2nd overall selection, and weaponizing an NHL-leading $41 million in salary cap space. GM Mike Greer already made a major splash by trading William Eklund to secure the number 9 pick, and he's now actively listening to blockbuster offers for the number 2 selection for an established young top-line star. If they keep the pick, the Sharks are heavily favored to draft elite Swedish winger Ivar Stenberg, while using their massive cap room to hunt for stars like Zach Werenski, absorb Edmonton's albatross Darnell Nurse contract, or entirely rebuild a thinned-out blue line currently featuring only 2 defensemen under contract. In need of a singular game-breaking forward to fix their offensive dry spells and provide a high-end scoring punch, the Seattle Kraken are primed for a hyper-aggressive offseason fueled by a whopping $28 million in salary cap space and a clear mandate from new GM Jason Botterill to acquire an elite offensive superstar. Seattle has pivoted its big game hunting towards targets like Matthew Knies and Cole Perfetti to fix its offensive dry spells. To facilitate a major roster shift, Botterill is actively shopping former number 4 overall pick Shane Wright for immediate top 6 talent, while already having used his premium capital to trade for young forward Mackie Samoskevich, by extending Bobby McMahon for 6 years and weighing trade down offers for the number 7 pick in the draft. Listen to Hockey Wiz Talks podcast on Podbean and Spotify. Check out my travel channel at youtube.com/@HockeyWizTravels. The Vancouver Canucks are launching a full-scale roster rebuild under a brand new front office by actively shopping star players like Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, and Jake DeBrusk. Following a major organizational collapse, newly appointed General Manager Ryan Johnston and co-presidents Daniel and Henrik Sedin are initiating a sweeping culture shift, which includes letting a heavy wave of veteran UFAs such as Evander Kane and Teddy Blueger walk to the open market. To jumpstart this new era, Vancouver is weaponizing a massive cluster of draft capital that includes 4 selections in the first 41 picks, while simultaneously planning a strict pitch count and 3-man goalie rotation to insulate the return of star netminder Thatcher Demko. Navigating tight salary cap constraints and weighing a potential move involving goalie Adin Hill to free up essential financial flexibility, GM Kelly McCrimmon is actively looking to move goaltender Adin Hill and declining forward Thomas Hertl to clear the necessary financial room to target elite pieces. Moving these contracts is essential for clearing up the cap space necessary to affording a lucrative extension for RFA winger Pavel Dorofeev and finalize a team-friendly deal for defenseman Rasmus Andersson, while utilizing Alex Petrangelo's $8.8 million contract on long-term IR as a seasonal financial cushion. In my next podcast, I'll be talking about 2026 free agent signings.